Mention AOC. Talk about the next generation of Democratic leadership nationwide, and in our state, there is a certain hopeful of the younger generation who maybe intends to be the leader of the next Democratic generation in Indiana, and that is Beau Bayh, the son and grandson of United States senators, who recently officially announced his campaign for Indiana Secretary of State. Now, from this Monday's Indianapolis Star, we got this article kind of questioning the launch strategy of the Bayh campaign, titled "How Much Time Has Secretary of State Candidate Beau Bayh Spent in Indiana?" Now, Beau Bayh says he didn't mean to convey anything in particular with his choice of inviting Indy star's James Briggs to his empty condo in Indianapolis for his Secretary of State campaign announcement. "I just sort of took the interview from where I was in my life. I'm moving," he said in a phone interview more than a week after he announced he was running. "I wasn't really thinking of what could be drawn from that, I guess," Bayh said. And I'm reading from the Indy Star article now. Much was drawn from it, though, in fact, as Republican critics, and I may add, critics from the Democratic left, also hopped on the detail as illustrative of the perception that Bayh, a Democrat, has barely lived in Indiana, even while he touts as part of his campaign pitch that he is a seventh-generation Hoosier. Now, University of Indianapolis political science professor Greg Schuffelt is skeptical that this line of attack about the residency is really going to matter. In 2016, when Evan Bayh, Beau's father, last ran for U.S. Senate against Todd Young, it wasn't really a factor in that election so much as that Trump's coattails were a factor. The professor says, quote, "The fact that Evan Bayh had a D in front of his name mattered a whole lot more than what his address might have said." Now, in Beau Bayh's case, based on the numbers he faces in Indiana, if he is the Democratic nominee, he would need to win over Republicans whose partisanship would otherwise lend themselves to vote for Morales. So while announcing from an empty apartment might have been an unforced error, there probably is not a large bucket of fence sitters who would consider voting for Bayh, but for whom this would be a deal breaker. Again, that's Scherfelt, the professor at University of Indianapolis. So let me ask, Zach, is this a what you would call a self-inflicted error, an unforced error? Is this bad optics? Is this bad strategy? What do you see here from the younger Bayh?
Well, certainly there is a long history of residency being a attempted wedge at whether it's local races or even national races when touting accomplishments from past jobs in politics at the state or local level before running federal. In Beau's case, I would agree with the professor that I don't think it's going to be that big of an impact. I think perhaps it was an unforced error. Or as some people like to call in the post-Biden era, a gaffe. Anything remotely that looks that way. But I would also say, as reflecting a new generation, that I have not seen much evidence of that from Beau yet. I've yet to really see the fullness of his platform, so don't want to jump too far ahead of the bandwagon. But one of the biggest things that I'm looking at, the Rural Summit is looking at, and other groups as well, is that younger rural Hoosiers do not feel like they're being talked to, they're being talked at, and they are being left behind and left out of conversation, and that the key issues that they would note are not anywhere in the talking points of the state parties or the people in the state house. So we will have to see if Beau is able to actually tap into that or not.
Jesse, if you wanted to make your candidate look like an elite, out of touch, carpetbagger, you would do exactly what this campaign is doing now, right? I mean, listen, whatever his platform is, however lovely a guy is, however lovely his family is, it's just terrible optics, no?
That's how it reads to me. I've never met Beau. I've heard he's a nice guy from people who have met him. Nothing I say about him is intended as criticism of him as a person. But I think, like, if you look at the story of Indiana, especially since 2008, you see a people who are hungry for political revolution. We went for Obama, even though we're a deep red state, because he ran on hope and change. People are really fed up with how things are working in this state, despite the fact that Republicans seem to win time after time, because we don't see viable candidates running against them that the party acts like matter, right? And so we just don't see anybody for regular working class people against the oligarchs or the political dynasties in charge. And again, I'm not saying Beau could be a super progressive guy with great personal ideas, but when you show up, no one's seen you in decades, if they've ever even seen the baby pictures of you that used to be in the papers. You show up with this like awesome credentials, Harvard, you've got military, you've got a clerkship, things that don't matter at all to regular people, in my experience. And then suddenly you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations from out of state and in state, but just, it's like, where was all this money when we had candidates running last year trying desperately to beat the supermajority? For some reason, that just didn't, come until, where's this money for Blythe Potter, who I think, is a strong candidate. You don't have to love Blythe, but when you get this much money this early in the race, and when you just seem so carpetbagged and just like plopped down to win a race, it seems like it's designed to push out progressive party insiders rather than start appealing to general people. Secretary of State race, I mean, up until next summer, the only people whose votes matter are going to be state party delegates, which means you're not applying across the aisle. You're not trying to reach moderates or conservatives. You're trying to reach Democratic insiders, and dropping this much money so early is just a let's get Blythe out of here rather than a let's actually bring people into the political process. And I think it's just the exact opposite of what we need to be doing. I haven't met, maybe I'd prefer Beau over Blythe. I really doubt that, but there's a possibility. But just the fact that as somebody who is technically an insider because I'm an elected official, I'm an elected precinct committee person, I'm a 2-time state party delegate, nobody has reached out to me to talk about Beau. Instead, they've just dumped a bunch of money in his campaign account and expected I could just follow the trend here. So I really kind of resent that personally.
And the ads.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The ads. The interview, empty apartment, the aw shucks affect, the brand new fresh Colts threads and Pacers hats, and it just comes off like, how do you do, fellow Hoosiers? Like, it is not, it's inauthentic. And you got it, this, Jesse. You talk about the hunger for a political revolution, just the desire to do something different. And the people demand authenticity, say the weird thing. You've all seen the TikTok video. I don't know if you're going to get political revolution or even the hinting at political revolution from a dude named Birch Evans Bayh the Fourth. It's not relatable. Yeah. But yeah, you can call me handsome in French.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, he could be the nicest guy in the world. Maybe he's the best, strongest candidate. But I really think if Democrats want to win in this state, we have to embrace conflict and intra-party discussion and debate. And, I'm hearing that already party insiders are calling Blythe, trying to tell her to drop out, trying to, encourage stopping any chance of a contested convention. And as a person who, gave the nominating speech for Cliff Marsiglio, a very long shot LG candidate last year, I think a contested convention is exactly what we do need. We need people fired up and feeling like their opinions matter, not just the convention as a coronation ceremony. So, yeah, obviously strong feelings about this. I know we got to move on.
100%. Zach, final thought on this topic.
Yeah, I would add that although I said that residency might not be a big issue, funding from out of state before the thing has even really started, that is a huge red flag for Hoosiers that we talk to, and I'm sure Jesse talks to across the state. And Blythe, knowing her not just as a candidacy, but as a friend, she has been called to drop out, but she is doing the real work. She has gone to all corners of this state. She is not just talking with local Democratic leaders, but the communities that they represent. She's asking what are the key concerns. She's asking as Secretary of State what they would like to see changed and what support the local municipalities to make elections run smoother and a more transparent process for all Hoosiers. She is bright. She has represented the Democrats in Chicago as a delegate at the Democratic National Convention. She is very much trying to bring transparency also into just the overall process of what's happening at the State House. She is very active on social media, and I believe she has a unique perspective and opportunity to bring those people along and make sure they're not just part of the discussion, but they understand what's happening and not allow the parties or the supermajority to pull the theoretical wool over their eyes.